The fear I talked about last week for the future of the NXT UK brand turned out to be well-founded, with the announcement this week that NXT UK, as we currently know it, will cease to exist, as WWE prepares to launch what they are referring to as NXT Europe in 2023. So Triple H's plans from years ago for a global NXT expansion look to be back on. How long before we start hearing about NXT Japan or NXT Mexico? He's been planning this for almost a decade. Now he has the power to actually make it happen. He's not wasting any time. In the announcement, they referred to Shawn Michaels as the Vice President of Talent Development Creative, and some people took that to be a new title, like he just got a promotion. That has been his title for the past 2 years, so that is nothing new. But this is what he said in the press release. Following the success of our live events and talent identification efforts throughout all of Europe, we believe this is the perfect time to expand NXT beyond the UK. NXT Europe will reimagine the brand and its talent pipeline with a pan-European focus. So officially, publicly, the NXT UK brand is going on hiatus for a few months, but they've already gone and dismantled the entire roster. Tons of talent releases this week. Vince McMahon may be gone, but his spirit lives on. Got another wave of mass releases here, including Trent Seven, who has been there from the beginning, Flash Morgan, I almost said Flash Funk, Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, Sam Gradwell, Dave Mastiff, Wild Boar, which is a great name for a wrestler, Jack Stars, Millie McKenzie, Zaya Brookside, Eddie Dennis, Saxton Huxley, Amir Jordan, Sid Scala, T-Bone, Shaw Samuels, Oliver Carter, Jason Melrose, Nina Samuels, Ashton Smith, Danny Luma, Teoman, Kenny Williams, and Amale, as well as their TV announcer, Kirsty Bosley. Many of them have since confirmed their departures on social media. No mention of Ilya Dragunov, who recently had to forfeit the NXT UK title due to injury, or the current NXT UK Women's Champion, Meiko Satomura. I cannot imagine either of them are going to be going anywhere. I'm sure they're safe. Per PW Insider, they are shutting down the brand to strategize the best way to launch NXT Europe next year, and the idea of touring regionally when the time is right. That's something they never did with NXT UK. It was just the television show and that was it. The door is said to be open for some of the released talents to be brought back down the road, and that with such a long hiatus until the relaunch, it didn't make any sense to keep everybody under contract. That sounds to me like, if that's true, this NXT Europe thing isn't coming until deep into next year. Because if it was coming in the next few months, they wouldn't have cut all these people. Now, on the NXT Heatwave special last Tuesday, we saw more of the UK faces pop up, including the entire Gallus faction, Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang, who laid out all the members of Diamond Mine. Blair Davenport, the former Bea Priestley, confronted Indy Hartwell in a backstage segment. And at the end of the show, after Braun Breaker retained his NXT Championship over JD McDonough, who's another NXT UK import, Tyler Bate walked out with his NXT Championship, and the two of them had a stare down. Now, if you are an NXT UK fan who tries to avoid spoilers since they tape so far ahead in advance, you probably were not very thrilled to see him walk out there with that championship, because Tyler Bate has not yet won the title on TV. On TV, the title is still vacant. Even on WWE.com, at least when I checked the other day, if you go to the Superstars section, the champion is still listed as vacant. Yet there he was, with the belt on Tuesday. But this is all to set up the next Worlds Collide event with NXT stars wrestling the stars from NXT UK. They have not done one of these Worlds Collide specials in a few years, but they're doing one the same day as AEW's All Out pay-per-view. But the NXT show will air at 4 o'clock Eastern on Peacock. Should end around the time that the buy-in pre-show begins. So they're not overlapping, but they are running on the same day. After that, the NXT UK brand will officially cease to exist. So we know of at least 2 matches so far for that special. Braun Breaker against Tyler Bate, and Diamond Mine against Gallus. It is no coincidence that WWE is running not 1 but 2 shows the same weekend as AEW's biggest show of the year. AEW has had a lock on Labor Day weekend for the past few years, probably 3 years now. I don't believe WWE has ever run a big event that weekend. And all of a sudden, they have two. What a coincidence. What an unbelievable coincidence. It seemed pretty clear NXT UK was on its last legs when they started bringing different talents over to the main brand, and then they canceled all of the future television tapings. I mean, that was a telltale sign right there. WWE just never put any kind of promotional muscle behind the brand. I can't imagine the numbers for it were any good. You know, I didn't watch the show every week, but when I heard about a great match, I tuned in. You know, NXT UK, if we think about the legacy of this brand, right? NXT UK did give us some fantastic matches, including those two matches with Walter and Ilya Dragunov. I think those are two of the best matches in company history. Main roster or otherwise. Across any brand. You can add Walter against Tyler Bate to that list from TakeOver Cardiff. COVID deprived us of Walter against Finn Balor in Dublin 2 years ago. That still pisses me off. Pete Dunne against Tyler Bate in Chicago for the UK title. I mean, it gave us a lot of quality wrestling. But outside of a few big shows, it was the forgotten brand. You know, by and large, the last 5 years, it was the forgotten brand. Now they're going to try out their plan for world domination. Starting with Europe, in countries like France and Germany and Italy. You know, I don't know how healthy the independent scenes are right now in those places, and I would love to hear from my international listeners. We have a lot of them. Generally speaking, when WWE comes in, that is not good news for the independent scene in those places. That is not looked upon as a positive. They want to come in and put their stamp on things. They want to come in and take control. They want to get people under contract. When people are under contract, they control them. They control their careers. They control where they can wrestle and when. It's smart for WWE to recruit talent from all different countries, but when they come in, they take over. Which is why the NXT TakeOver name was so appropriate. It was always the plan. They come in, they sign up all the good talent, they sign contracts that limit what other places they can work. They came into the UK. And I don't get the sense that the scene over there is as strong as it was before. Now, the whole speaking out movement had a lot to do with that because there were a lot of UK promotions and talent that were caught up and swept up in that. And it was just this whole really, you know, crazy situation. That didn't help either. But I don't get the sense that the scene over there is nearly as strong as it was before WWE came in and started doing the whole NXT UK thing. That's the fear. When WWE comes knocking, they want to, you know, if you're a local promoter, you've got to have a lump in your throat right now hearing this news. But this was always the plan. It all goes back to what I said on episode 374 of The Sound Of. That was 7 years ago, by the way, when I recorded that episode. And I said it then. Why is Triple H signing all of this indie talent? Why did he suddenly become such a big fan of the indies? To try to kill Ring of Honor, for one. Ring of Honor was practically the feeder system for WWE anyway for a long time. Triple H wanted to create his own super indie and create talent from within and take credit for creating talent from within the company. He raided the indie scene of as much talent as he could to try to weaken it and partner with a few smaller promotions that pose no threat. These promotions that they partnered with, you know, pose no imminent threat to him or WWE. So he can gain access to even more talent. He would host these conference calls with the wrestling media, talk about teaching all of these people the WWE playbook when they bring them in. Everything they learned elsewhere doesn't matter. You know, when you come to WWE, it's like coming to a new team. You got to learn our plays. You got to learn our style. Forget everything you learned before. You know, they're going to basically deprogram you. That's what they do. I think Triple H gained an appreciation for the indie guys over time that he didn't maybe have when he was in his prime in the ring. He built an entire brand around them and found success for a while. Changed the whole viewpoint that some people even had of Triple H changed because of what he did with NXT. But it was all part of a longer-term strategy that, as we now see, is still playing out to this day.